Yes, guys, welcome back to flatcapeurotalk here, and we are going to be talking about the new right wing back for Tottenham Hotspur, Djed Spence, everybody. And it seemed like, at one stage it was kind of not going to happen, but he is one of the first ones kind of to be linked with us. It feels like kind of this year. I feel like we've been linked with him for some time. We have obviously kind of a scout report on this guy on this channel from a long time ago, so feel free to head back and check, the original one, I think, from David and I. But Djed Spence here, everybody, actually born in London, England, 21 years old, born in 2000, 6 feet 1 inches, actually a taller right wing back than maybe most. And I think Sean from Spurs Talk Show would be happy about that. He wants the taller wing backs. Fulham is actually his youth career, where his youth club was. And then his position, as we do know, is kind of a fullback or a right wing back, depending. And the fee is reporting, according to The Guardian kind of releasing the story saying Spurs have come to an agreement on a transfer fee of around £20 million for the Middlesbrough right wing back Djed Spence. Dave, maybe just quick initial thoughts, like £20 million. I guess that's more than maybe we expected. It could be less than that, but I don't know. Is that overpaying? Do you really care? I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
I'll be honest, Jack. I think that fee is about right for a player with the potential that Djed Spence has, to be honest with you. And for a player around his age, I think that fee is about right in modern football.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, to be fair, I mean, we spent a whole lot more, on players before, so I don't know maybe what I'm complaining about, to be honest. But I figured everybody, before we kind of break down, the highlight reel of Djed Spence, there's a new one out there for us. We figured we'd maybe break down the stats, just quickly, but we were going to go more in depth about this later on the Irish Hotspur. But you can see that Djed Spence, it was kind of hard to get FBref stats for this. I usually use FBref, but I had to use WhoScored.com for this one. Djed Spence, he does actually have more tackles and interceptions than Matt Doherty, but kind of not really as maybe good of a one-on-one defender. I mean, he's basically dribble past just as much. Key passes about the same as Doherty again. He is an exceptional dribbler, though, according to a lot of people. Djed Spence, really good ball carrier, and he actually skins past nearly 2 people a game. Where Doherty, according to WhoScored, only 0.4 times per game, according to them. He is dispossessed, though, a lot more than Doherty, and his pass success percentage is nowhere near as good either. Interestingly, against Emerson does have more tackles, but, Djed Spence with more interceptions there. Dribble past also, Emerson does get dribble past more. Key passes, Djed Spence is better. Dribbles per game, he's way better than Emerson. And though Emerson does get dispossessed fewer times than Djed Spence, and his pass success percentage is a bit better. So you are seeing though maybe what Spurs are seeing in Djed Spence, with the fact that he is maybe more of a progressive wingback than the others. And I did forget to say that he did get 2 goals and 4 assists in the championship. I actually was going to go back. Dave, any quick thoughts maybe on just him versus Emerson or him versus Doherty? I do feel like regardless if people don't rate this guy, he does bring something different.
Look, when it comes to Djed Spence, it's one for the future. It's one that you're looking at that you can nurture. We've done it with Danny Rose before. We've done it with Kyle Walker before. You get them in young, you develop them, you nurture them, and eventually you have a fullback there for the next 5, 6, 7 years. So for me, look, when it comes to Doherty and Emerson, what I will say is he provides them competition, Jack. He makes them up their game. He makes them go to a new level because he will be chasing down their spot. A lot of people don't know this about Djed Spence, Jack, but even from a young age, he's from Croydon, which is where I used to live in London, which I absolutely like, Jacko. But look, this guy has had to work harder than anybody else that he's come through in that sort of age group. He was at Fulham around the same time as Ryan Sessegnon and his brother as well. He was in that same sort of group. He was in the same youth team as Wan-Bissaka and Emil Smith-Rowe coming as a young lad. But Jack, this guy, constantly he's being written off because of his technical ability. But what this guy does do, Jack, is he goes away and he works really, really hard. He is a really hard worker, and that's why he's ended up getting himself into the position he's got himself into at Nottingham Forest. That's why potentially Tottenham are coming in for this guy, because even the youth team he used to play for before he got drafted into Fulham, he was written off because he wasn't technically the best, but he went away and worked on that. Same at Fulham. They were writing him off nearly every year. The underage he was there, nearly writing him off nearly every single year. Went away, worked hard, ended up getting his scholarship at the age of 16. He was starting for Middlesbrough, but for whatever reason, they decided to let him go on loan to Nottingham Forest. He's come in and he's absolutely took that spot. And for me, I think with this guy, what he will do, Jack, is he will definitely bring that desire, that work ethic, that hard work. And a manager will end up rewarding that. And eventually he will get his chance. And a player like that, for me, will take that opportunity. He's got a good mother behind him as well, that when he wasn't in the teams when he was younger, Jack, she used to take him away, do extra drills with him, told him he has to work harder. And that's what he done. So he's got a very, very good grounding. But he will push Emerson and Doherty next season. Doherty is good going forward, not great defensively. Emerson is good defensively, but not great going forward. So there's no one that can tell me that they look at that right wing back spot and say that if Djed Spence has a good pre-season under Conte, that there's not a chance and an opportunity there for him to get in there. So what it does do, it makes Doherty elevate his game to a new level, which means you might get a lot more out of Doherty. It'll make Emerson take his game to a new level, which hopefully you get a lot more out of him. So I think that's what he'll provide to Emerson and Doherty, Jack.
Well said, Dave. Said a lot there, a lot to say there clearly on the guy about that. And I think probably the one thing that he brings, and we're seeing that right there on display, is that ball carrying ability. I think that's what he brings that Doherty and Emerson don't have, is that sort of ball carrying ability, this ability to take on a man every game. And like we said, and we showed in the stats, everybody nearly takes on 2 players a game. And is able to skim past close to 2 players a game. Loving also this, bit of theatrics as well. Beautiful little ball roll, showing him the strength.
He's not bad for a guy that was written off technically all the way throughout his youth career, though, Jack. It just goes to show how hard he's worked on it.
I think he's an exceptional dribbler, Dave. I mean, I'm not sure about the other elements of his game, but I do think he is an exceptional dribbler.
But this is all you want from your wingback, Jack. Like, how many times at Tottenham have we seen it being static, passing it around? No one wants to beat their man. Look at Djed Spence here. His first thought is, how can I beat my man? Look at the space he's creating. Look at the space he's opening up when there's nothing else on. And that's what you need at Tottenham. Someone that's young, fearless, that will take on players, beat players, and make something happen. We've been caught time and time again at fullback with that.
Do you feel like, somebody said before, though, Dave, like when he does get into these excellent positions, like right here from, skinning past this man, some people say that he kind of isn't able to sometimes keep his head up, when, picking out a cross. But I will say that is a difficult ability. A lot of times people, do kind of just put in a blind cross, in moments just in hopes of getting lucky. Do you think, he probably could have a bit of better delivery at times?
No, 100%. Look, Jack, this guy isn't without his flaws. Let's be real.
I'm only asking that since I don't know anything about the guy.
No. Look, his crossing at times can be a bit left to be desired. But that's something that Antonio Conte and the staff at Tottenham can work on with this guy, especially with getting him in before pre-season. You look at him, he has the athleticism, he has the pace, Jack, he has the strength, he has the work ethic. He's young, he's hungry. All you need to do now is just work on the finer parts of this guy's game. You look at someone like Reguilon. I would class Reguilon as someone that's probably very similar to this guy, Jack.
Yeah. Great strength there.
With Reguilon, he's a lot older. You can teach him, but it's a lot harder to get to teach him maybe how to cross a ball properly, etc., because of the age he is. But with Spence, he's still in that development age. He's still in that age where you can improve this guy. And when you look at him, there's not really that much to improve on. Like, look at this. He's taking 3-4 players out of the game and getting his team up the pitch. You don't see Doherty do that. You don't see Emerson do that. You don't even see Ryan Sessegnon do that.
He's actually doing what we kind of thought, the whole reason everybody really wanted to bring Adama Traore in the first place is kind of what we're seeing Djed Spence doing here. It's just kind of taking on man after man after man and, just kind of showing full bravery and courage, on the ball, trying to make things happen. And that's why people wanted Adama Traore, at wing back, Dave, is because he just causes chaos. He just causes, defenders to panic. And you see Djed Spence, doing pretty much the same thing. So that's another unbelievable touch right there. But what I see Djed Spence doing, Dave, is basically offering what Adama Traore would sort of offer from that wing back position. But like you said, him being young, him, still have plenty to learn and, plenty to develop under Conte, could easily then develop other aspects of his game. Whereas Adama Traore wouldn't probably develop, that many other aspects of his game. You're just kind of, honing in what he is good at, where Djed Spence could become good at other elements as well.
But the key, Jack, is wanting to improve. And anyone can go and do the research on this guy. He has always had to work hard. So that willingness will be there. That wanting to improve will be there. I look at this guy, Jack, just what he offers going forward in terms of beating players, like even simple things like that. It's very similar to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, don't get me wrong. He does not have the passing ability or the crossing ability. But you look at most of the teams in the Premier League, most of the teams around Europe, Jack, the top teams, they have fullbacks who can beat their man, who can create space, make something happen. And we need a wing back like that. We're crying out for it. We haven't had it on both sides. We've addressed one side with Perisic, but trust me, I really think this guy will take off at Tottenham. I really do. Like, how many times, and we've all said it about these low block teams, there's no one that's willing to beat their man, and that's what you have to do against them sort of teams. And this guy will do that in abundance. He's young, he's fearless, and he'll want to make his mark.
Mm-hmm.
He's got good close control, like you said, Jack. In the stats, beats his players at least twice a game, and it's reflecting here in the highlight reel.
I mean, on the other element I really like about Dave is that he actually brings the ball inside, plenty of times. He doesn't just, kind of just take it outside past his man. He's able to take it inside. So he seems to be a tricky customer in that regard. Like here, Dave, he's fully able to touch a pass you inside. And then that makes it so that he's able to have more space, to be able to go past even more players. And that's what I like about it, Dave. He doesn't just take the same route, every time by the looks of it.
No, 100%. When I've looked at ties this season, Jack, I do think he does favor going to the byline where he can. And that's very kind of like Kyle Walker-esque. That's what Kyle Walker used to love to do, is beat his man and get to the byline and put one across. Yeah. But what I will say is about Jedi here, Jack, is look at that. I mean, look at that, Jack. He's taking, 2-3 players out of the game. That's absolutely unbelievable. Look again, another 2 players absolutely gone. You've just got to work on this guy's crossing ability. Once you work on that, you've got a very, very fine player on our hands. Oh, he even puts one in the back of the net there. I would have preferred him to be on Savage and square that, but fair play.
I was just going to say ballsy. Yeah, that ballsy right there. Yeah, he loves to come inside.
And he's off the back of the campaign. People also need to remember this guy, off the back of the campaign he's just had, Jack, has been called up to the England under-21 squad. He also made the PFA Championship Team of the Year as well.
That's right.
So the thing is with a lot of Spurs fans, I think when a lot of Spurs fans are unhappy is, I think everyone's well aware of the game he had against Arsenal that day in the FA Cup. But I think a lot of them, the only other time they would have really seen this guy is the Championship final, Jack. You have to take that game as what it was. Nottingham Forest were in the lead. They were never going to keep flooding forward. They were never going to do that. They were always going to sit back and protect the lead, with what was at stake. And especially with Nottingham Forest, they've been so near a lot of times and just haven't been able to get out of the Championship. Then they've also been completely down away from it for a long time as well. So a team like Nottingham Forest, they were never, ever going to come at Huddersfield once they went 1-up. They were always going to sit back. They were never going to get Djed Spence to keep bombing forward with what was at stake. It's the richest game of football, they say, Jack.
Do you think Djed Spence is, rapid for the Championship, Dave, or do you think he's, would be rapid in the Premier League as well, like in terms of actual pace?
Nah, he's rapid, Jack. He'll be very rapid in the Premier League. He's quick, Jack. He's very quick. Look at that. Show him the weight room, honestly.
That's probably one of my favorite elements about him, Dave, is the fact that he is probably 6'1", to be fair. And, to be honest with Dave, and also what's kind of funny about this, Dave, is this video originally thought he was going to United, which actually makes it quite funny. Now he's all ours. But everybody, £20 million is the reported fee by The Guardian for Djed Spence. He does seem to be looking like our new right wing back. I think it is going to be announced in the coming days, probably officially by the club and by Fabrizio Romano. Dave, I think, knows plenty more about this guy than I do. So I would encourage everybody to check out our Djed Spence video over on the Irish Hotspur, where Dave will be waxing more lyrical about the guy. Because I would say for the first time in a while, Dave is, the one that's really more the expert on the scout report here than I am. So I think, it's actually a good kind of switch of roles here. I'm excited about Djed Spence, at least in the ball carrying ability, the fact that he's young, English, it'd be good to see us kind of be going after those sort of talents as much as I love the big European talents. Good to see us kind of go after something else. But do let me know, everybody, what you think of Djed Spence in the comments down below. Hit that like button on your way out. And as always, everybody, David and I, we will be seeing you.